Welcome to 2023. Today I want to cover something that I get asked about all the time, but especially now. People want to upgrade, need to upgrade, buy a new house, sell their existing home, and whether you've done this before, many times, or never, the uncertainty of 2023 has us all wondering how this is going to pan out. And I get it, let's rap about it, but hang tight. I've seen other videos about this around, but no one's really answering the questions that I get asked or how I would answer the questions. So I want to get honest, dig deep. Now, let's dive in. The big question is, do you buy first, do you sell first? And the answer is as unique as each of my clients. So I'm going to break this down, give you some options, but also talk a little bit about what I'm already seeing this year. And hopefully, by digging in a little bit deeper, shine a light on what might work best for you. Before we proceed right now, though, anyone selling a home really needs to understand the current marketplace and have a plan together. Now, I touched on this in my last video, so I'm not going to rehash that right now, but this is of paramount importance. So pause this video, go watch that one, and then come back to the next chapter in this video, which starts about now. Let's start by going over some options to buy first. Option one, it only really works if you already have money saved up. You can just use the money that you have in savings, go out, purchase the new home, done deal, down payments there, all good. But hold on, how much of that money should we be putting at risk? Will we sell our house for the value that we think we can? And what happens if we don't? And my suggestion right now, and this is something that I worked on with buyers in the past as well, is maybe put a little bit less down, keep some money in the bank, especially if you have to pull a mortgage for this second house, for this next house. Put 10% down instead of 20%. You can get a conventional note for as little as 3 to 5% with some lenders. Maybe not exactly right now, but depending on when you're watching this, check with your lenders, blah, blah, blah. When we do sell the house and you have the proceeds, then you can put that additional money down as you initially intended. Once you do that, you go back to your lender, you recast the note, bringing your monthly payment down to a much more comfortable place where you want to be. Best case scenario with these proceeds, you can also refill the coffers, win-win. Probably will have to qualify for a second mortgage if this is the case, and they'll want to see money saved up for up to 6 months of bills. So let's also riddle this for those that have investor aspirations. The second option, and this could also serve as a general backup plan, potentially if you do qualify for that second mortgage, is to lease your existing home when you purchase the new one. This might not work for everyone, but it's how many folks actually get into their first rental property. And if you have any aspirations to being a landlord, real estate investor, this might be your moment, Mustafa. Now, you could be able to do this without having to qualify for that second mortgage if you get the lease signed before you close on the new home, for someone to move in before that first payment for the second mortgage comes due, meaning you'll have to market the house while you live there. There is that. But another option to buy first would be leveraging a bridge product. These two options could be paired together. It's commonly known as a bridge loan. This basically is a temporary loan that should get you enough for a down payment, leveraging your existing assets, your house, for example. The good thing about this method is that it's no money out of pocket, but it does come with that same risk of not knowing how much you will sell your existing home for. And the benefit that we have here is that the underwriter is not going to approve the note if they don't think that we can do it. That fear aside, you also will typically pay a premium for this type of loan. They're short term. Those come at a higher rate. Another possibly better option, though it can take a little bit longer sometimes, might be to just get a home equity loan or a line of credit. And right now, I think it's worth exploring all of the options that a lender may offer, because most will have something to suggest that might work for you. This would also play into the idea of renting that existing home. Like I said, I'm just saying that's just an option. Now, what happens if you do need to sell first? How do we do that? Well, one option, and I know this makes people nervous, but hang tight. We can negotiate a longer escrow period if needed. Do a leaseback if it becomes necessary. This is the kind of thing that we would inch our way into as needed, but you'll want to negotiate many of the terms and disclose all of this up front if it's a fear or may come up at some point. This way, the buyer that you're working with is not going to get blindsided if you need to stay in the house after the sale. That said, maybe we should talk about what a leaseback is. The escrow period, first, is the time that it takes for buyer diligence to take place. It's the contract to close period. A loan needs to be approved during this time. It can happen in 20 to 30, 45 days. Tennessee, the loan disclosure docs have to go out 3 days before closing date. So if you ask for a longer escrow period, say 60 days, you want to get that out before you get under contract if you can, so that everyone plans accordingly. The lender needs to be on the same page at that point. They might not be able to lock the rate in that far out. A temporary leaseback, if it's needed, gets drafted through an amendment for the contract and typically outlines how long the seller intends to occupy the property after the sale. Again, if you anticipate the need for it, negotiate it up front. At least get the terms outlined so that you can set expectations, potentially get a much better deal for the leaseback terms, pricing, etc., as opposed to asking for it at any point when you're already under contract. Puts you in a better position for the ask. But if this is needed, it may be because of a slow market. It is 2023 and we're starting off a little slower than the last 2 years. A lot more inventory bumping up in recent weeks. But let's offer an alternative. How about if you just get yourself interim housing from the start? Like if you found somewhere to stay before you even list the house, before you even start looking for a new one. This could take all the complications out of any temporary leaseback issues, but it has its pros and cons, and it depends on what options you may have for interim solutions. In fact, consider this: the leaseback, the temporary leaseback, can only happen for 60 days post-sale to be attached to the contract. At that point, it becomes a totally different type of agreement, specifically a month-to-month lease. Now, the main considerations here are cost and storage if you go out and get into a temporary situation before you list, before you do anything. Could you live with family through the process to potentially save some money? Or would you need to find a month-to-month rental solution? And what do you do with all of your stuff? I've seen people move in with their parents or with kids or other family, and whether they do this or find a rental, it gives you an opportunity to pack up the essentials, bring them with you somewhere, keep what you need, put some stuff in store, obviously. Some people leave the house staged with the big furniture until closing. Mobile storage solutions are popular because a pod can often live at the house until you close, and then if you do leave big stuff in the house until then, it can make the final move out a little bit easier, right? Now, all of this said, I've had some clients look at new construction as an alternative to many of the issues present while trying to sell a house and buy a new one. Typically with new construction, you're looking at a set time frame for completion, which at least gives you an idea how long you need to find the interim housing for. If there's a long enough period of build time on your new home while you're under contract to buy, you can prepare and get the house ready to sell, wait to list it until you're a couple of months out from that completion. Now, if you're uncertain how long it's going to take to sell, you can typically just list the house after you're under contract to buy, utilize as much of that time as you need. Now, with new construction, I do typically see a need for interim housing, whether it's weeks or months, but due to builder delays, this comes up quite often. And every situation is different, but the other thing to note with new construction, you don't have to go straight to the builder, work directly with one of their agents. Their agents are actually listing agents on site. So you still can bring your buyer's agent, your listing agent for your sale as a buyer's agent to help you. Or if you're just going to new construction in general, you're just watching this video as a buyer trying to figure out what you're going to buy when you get into a house, you can work with an agent in that transaction and be represented by someone that's not the builder. I think this is where we're going to sign off for today, because honestly, whatever you decide to do will be totally unique to your situation. I hope that you can see that there's a possibility to sort of mix and match here, that there's no one size fits all, and I hope that this helps. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.